Attention, wine enthusiasts and connoisseurs, of course. Proudly South Africa's local wine expo, it is back. So if you have FOMO, don't worry, you might be able to still make it. Joining us, Eustace Mashimbye, CEO of Proudly SA, and Silindile Zuma, brand owner of Nanola wines. And of course, they were going to bring wine in. Of course you were. Of course, this is why we do this show on a Friday morning as well. Do not condone drinking before 9 o'clock in the morning, by the way, or 10 o'clock. That's my advice. Morning, going to talk to you wines in a second. So it's back. Good to have it back. Well done. And how are you looking for it?
No, thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Gareth. We're looking good. We had the first day yesterday. The focus for the brand owners yesterday was to introduce them to buyers and decision makers, the supply chain decision makers in all facets of establishments that brand owners are looking to get into, from hotels to restaurants to liquor traders and retailers. And that was the focus when we launched the expo yesterday morning. And then we opened it up to the public in the afternoon, because we want the public to experience the brands, to taste them, develop an affinity towards them, so that those who would have seen the brands in the morning, when they do eventually take them to shelves, consumers can then find products that they've seen before, tasted, and hopefully take them home. Take them home and recommend them to their friends as well, and to those who own restaurants, etc. as well. So one of the brand owners of Nanola Wines joining us, Silindile as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And we're going to talk about woman in wine in a moment, and it's okay if you are not happy with that term, because I've had an interview like this before where I was told, please don't call me a woman winemaker. We're beyond that. So tell me if you agree with the title or not. And then let's talk about your wine. How did you get into this? Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thanks, Gareth, for that question. So I guess it started by drinking, right?
Well, that's my excuse for everything as well. That's kind of my excuse for everything.
So yeah, I just got introduced to wine later on in life, and then I find wine to be quite artistic and very complex, and I got very much interested, and then I decided, you know what, let me just study more about this so that, I can learn and understand it, a lot better. And I decided that, you know what, I can have a business in this. Because if you look around in South Africa, unemployment is a problem.
Right.
So the vision for starting this business is also just as big. It's not about just...
I'm dying to know, apart from what did you study to get into the wine industry? I'm kind of digging for information here, partly.
Right.
But then, too, how did you see the gap where you thought, you know what, even here in South Africa, one of the world's premier winemaking countries, you still saw a gap? Tell me how you saw a gap in all of this market.
I think I can just say people who look like me maybe don't think that wines are something that they can be in business for. So that's the gap that I saw. But I did not want to do it without any knowledge. So what I did is study with the Cape Wine Academy, wine and winemaking, focusing on South African wines, because we've got the greatest wines in this country.
I remember being over in the United States a couple of years ago in California, Los Angeles. And California has a great wine industry. I'm sure you know this as well.
Yes.
But there were Americans going into their local bottle stores buying South African wines. You would think they'd buy the California wines. They love our wines as well. Can I ask you the question then? Is there a big focus on women winemakers? Again, it's a term that some people in 2023 are finding offensive, but is that a focus for you?
Look, as part of the drive that we started last year, like you said when we started, that we are back, because it's the second edition of it. We are finding that the lesser known brands that really need the exposure and the market access are women-owned brands. And coincidentally, it just happened that as we went through our database, 70% of those eligible to participate in this event are women-owned brands. We don't necessarily call them women makers, but women-owned brands. And we are pleased with that. I think if you look at the unemployment numbers, the most affected remain Black African women. Absolutely. And the youth.
That's exactly
and so we know that through engaging with our member companies, a lot of them, as women entrepreneurs, employ women, which is good. So we're making a difference through this event, and we are hoping that as it grows, as the businesses grow, as they access market opportunities, and as the opportunity presents itself for them to employ more people, that they will also do the right thing.
And I think that's got to be the goal as well. I'm going to ask you for details of where the expo is. I know it's up in Joburg as well. It's going to be a cold weekend, so a good weekend for some good red wine. Here is where I'm going to come and test you on this one now. You're the wine expert here. There's a little bit of red that's being poured.
Yes.
What are we looking at? This bottle's closed. Can I just grab this one? What are we looking at? Talk me through this.
One. So that one is our red blend. It's made in Franschhoek. It is a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Syrah, and Petit Syrah. So it would have been classified as a Bordeaux blend, but the use of Syrah and Petit Syrah threw us off that category. But we were not even trying to be that category in any case. We wanted to have the wine that somebody who has got a matured palate can appreciate, but also the entry-level drinkers would not feel like it's attacking my palate.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hitting, on both sides. But the beauty about us being at the prison market or being part of the expo, which we were part of last year as well, we were the deputants of it, is the knowledge that we impart when we meet new friends and old friends. They quiz us about the wine making, why this, why that. So the knowledge that we share about the grapes, about the soil, it's also very much fulfilling.
I've always been curious when it comes to those who know their wine, which obviously you do, and then we've all got those friends, I'm sure you know them, that pretend they know wine. They do the little sniff, and it's like, oh, I can smell the... No, you can't. Unless it's you, you probably can't tell the difference at all. How long did it take you to start noticing things in a blend like this? Because, I mean, I can see here, red cherries, cassis, spices providing an accompaniment to any event. Can you now, is your nose and taste buds so trained in that you can actually tell the difference? How long did that take you?
I think it's exposure. I can't quantify it in years.
It's a nice way of saying drinking.
Yeah, you just drink. But I think what helped when I was doing the calls, you have to kind of focus. I used to live in fruits and veg so that I can smell different fruits, smell different veggies, and try and identify it. And also wine is very subjective. I can smell berries, but you smell chocolate. It's also about what you've been exposed to that you get to pick up.
I smell a hangover. That's pretty much all I smell. I love red wine, but as I'm getting older, mature, as I'm getting older, red wine just hits me. But maybe not a good quality wine like this. This will be good. I'm going to come back to you in a second. I want to say goodbye to us. But anyone watching now that wants to get into the industry, perhaps young woman, black woman, those even who are maybe older who have thought, I could probably do this. I drink a lot of it. There's probably a business here for me somewhere. What advice do you give them very briefly?
You must love it to start off with. You must love to be in the business of wine, and also empower yourself with knowledge. You have to, have information, and also look up to those who've been there before you. Ask questions, do your research, and expose yourself.
How do they do that? Where can they get hold of you? Or are you on the socials, as the kids say?
Yes, we definitely are on Instagram at Nanola Wines, Facebook, Nanola Wines. Also, we have a website, www.nanola.wine.
Nice and easy.
Yeah.
If you want the spelling, here it is on the big video wall behind us. You can't miss it at this point. So, happening this weekend, it's now open to the public.
Yeah.
This is out in Kyalami. What's the place called again?
Yeah, so it's Prison Break Market out in Kyalami. We opened yesterday. So last night it was packing. Puza Thursday rocked. And as you can see, the quality of wine brand owners that we have, lots of stories being told, continues until Saturday. So today it's still open. People need to go onto our social media pages at Proudly SA or at Proudly South African and register. Get yourself a ticket. It's free to enter, but you need to register so that you get a ticket that you bring with, and come experience the high quality wines, locally made, 70% women brand owners. There's no better story this weekend.
No, there isn't, really. And with some amazing wine as well. Silindile, well done. And thank you very much for coming. What an inspiration. A job that I think any of us would love to have one day, and you're doing it well, joining us for the weekend. It's what's going to be a massive, massive wine festival. It is a Prison Break out in Kyalami. I think if you know the area, Prison Break Market out in Kyalami. Eustace, thank you very much for coming in, CEO of Proudly South Africa, and Silindile Zuma, brand owner of Nanola Wines. Go look for them online as well. It's a good weekend for some wine.